Well, an Adelaide cottage, I should say, that's ripe for renovation. We're talking about 42 Milner Street in Prospect. It's heading under the hammer shortly. But first, we're joined on the line by Harris selling agent Peter Shazaz for a bit of a preview. Peter, thank you for being with us. What can you tell us about this place?
Yeah, look, it's a gorgeous 1885 cottage. It has been held in the family since the 1970s. It really is ripe for renovation on a really good size 800 square metre allotment, so in probably one of the best streets in Prospect.
Yeah, look, it is that beautiful original stone-fronted facade, which is just such beautiful character we know you have down that part of our great country. But it is that original symmetrical design, and there's plenty of scope to renovate this and make it your own at the rear of the home, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely. It has got a little bit of a lean-to at the back, so most people looking at the property are looking at keeping the original 4 rooms with a hallway down the middle, and then just putting an extension on the back of the property.
Yeah, and I mean, with people wanting to put their own stamp on the place, renovate it a bit, they'd probably be pretty interested to know the size of the land. Is it a big block?
It is. It's 803 square metres, a nice symmetrical block, yeah.
And it's also a pretty flat block as well, so it does have that potential for people to really make it their own, because, as you said, the people in there at the moment have been in there since, 1975. So they've enjoyed this home. It's ready to go to some new hands.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's double fronted. I mean, it's a really kind of classic, it's got a beautiful facade, doesn't it, James?
Yeah, beautiful, and all those character details throughout. Tell us about the area of Prospect as well. What's it got to offer, Peter?
Yeah, look, Prospect is a great area. It's some 6,000 homes, very close to the north part of the central business district. Very, very cosmopolitan, lots of cafes, lots of restaurants, excellent lifestyle. So a lot of people being drawn to the area, not just for its architecture and the character homes, but certainly for the lifestyle that the area offers.
What can you tell us about the interest heading up to this auction you've got?
Yeah, look, it's been pretty good. We've got a number of parties that have made themselves known who will be having a go at the auction today. Certainly the sort of property that is a lot of people in Prospect are looking for, in that they can put their own stamp on the property, saying that it does need some renovation. So, yeah, we've had some pretty brisk interest on the property.
Now, we don't always highlight the toilets in any home, but this one does have the original outdoor dunny, and I love being able to say that on this show. It's a big part of an Australian home. Do we have any idea of a price guide for this one at all, Peter?
We have been quoting $775,000 leading up to the auction, so I guess we'll see very shortly how that goes.
Yeah, great. And you've got auctioneer Phil Harris there on there today too. We're going to expect a good auction?
Absolutely.
Beautiful, perfect answer. Peter, thank you so much for sharing it with us. So you can start chatting on with the crowds there. I'm sure they're all starting to arrive, and we'll come back to you soon for that first auction of the day for us.
Wonderful, thank you.
Welcome back to Auction Day. We're taking a look now at celebrity listings news. Our reporter Maddie Hale joins us in the studio. Maddie, thank you for being with us.
Guys, thank you for having me.
Where have you
Welcome
been?
to Chris.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
It is.
It's all very well.
Sophie ran
It's a good
away
time.
today, but you're here.
Which
Chris
is the
here.
main.
Where have you been this week?
Well, guys, I've been everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But look, we're kicking off with Brad and Jen.
Okay.
Do you remember the Hollywood it couple that
Testing
once
our
was?
memories a bit at this stage.
Yeah, well,
They were the power couple.
No, they were the big couple.
Yeah.
Of the the early 2000s. They were married from 2000 to 2005, and then they had that incredibly public divorce. But this house that we're going to look at is on the market in Beverly Hills for $78.5 million. This is their former home. And it is now on the market, but they sold this in 2006, pretty much, well, in the midst of their divorce, I would say. It was very much happening.
Beautiful kitchen, look at that.
It's a beautiful home. Now, this was their work. They spent 3 years remodeling this house completely. No word on when they actually bought it, but they sold it in 2006, pretty much as the divorce was happening.
Yeah.
So this was...
Just for everyone watching out there, renovation, I find, bring couples together. So don't think that it ends up in divorce for everyone, all right? The house is quite spectacular. Beautiful finishes. Look at that butterflied bookended marble there on the fireplace. Beautiful.
Well, I don't know if this was the reason as to why their relationship ended.
No.
I
There
don't
was
know
other
if that
things
was the
happening.
headline on Us Weekly, but
No, I think
anyway,
it
it
was Mr.
is.
and Mrs. Smith, a movie, but that's
Some
a
say.
whole nother
Some
time.
do say, don't they?
Some do say. Now, this was designed by Hollywood architect Wallace Neff, who's apparently a big name. But that is your domain, not mine.
Yep.
Now, the house sits on 12,000 square feet and it dates back to the 1930s. It's a French Normandy revival-style home.
Okay.
I love this house.
It is. It's quite interesting style, isn't it? It's almost got some Tudor detailing with all that
That's what I was
timber.
about to say, yeah.
But I mean, it's stayed traditional. You know, checkered floor, beautiful mixture of the black and all those white subways, isn't it?
Yeah, so they added
feels
those.
beautiful and fresh, and those rich timber floorboards. That's that. It's like rich. It's called Black Japan, Chris. Just so you know, that beautiful
Love it.
dark floorboards right through. And people get scared of dark floors, but you can see
I
here
love them.
how beautifully it works. It creates great contrast.
Yeah.
Maddie, I understand that there's a few famous people that live in the area. Is that right?
Well, Beverly Hills, there's quite a few people, but...
Yeah. So, okay, Captain Obvious over here at the end.
No, you're
look,
good at this.
I'm trying to ask about the street.
Yes, he's on the ball. This one,
He's
this Chris
trying.
Collar.
Try my
He's a
best.
real journalist.
Yes.
But next door neighbours, you remember this house because I harped on about this house like for about 17 times. But Danny DeVito, remember his
Yes.
former house that was completely remodeled?
Yeah.
It's the most amazing house, and it was that one that James Packer bought for like $66
Yeah, I
million.
do remember it because we joked about the doorways having to be made taller
Yeah.
because Danny DeVito's so short.
Anyway,
I remember
so
that.
that house, that still to this day is my pick.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it's the next door neighbours.
It's a beautiful home. I love the
Yeah.
detailing in there, the finishes. I think it takes a certain amount of upkeep, but it's a pretty grand home isn't it, as well.
It is a beautiful home. So they added they completely remodeled it, but they added those marble kitchen floors, a private screening room, a pub room, whatever that might be.
Well, it's on the market if they decided to get back together because Brad's single again. Maybe they
It's
could
all
do that.
and she's single again, so we don't really know
Well,
what
there
will
you go,
happen.
guys. We're opening opportunity here on the show for you. Relationship
dream.
building as well as
And you know what? Knowing them, I think they'll take that and
I
they'll
think
run
so.
with it.
Thank you.
Because they are watching.
They do tune in.
Where else have you been?
Okay, well, I don't know if you guys know Justin Hartley, but he is a big name in the US. He's one of the main characters in This Is Us, which is NBC's huge, emotional, I was going to say sitcom, but it's not. It's an emotional drama. Amazing show. He's been in Smallville, Bad Mums, but he has just bought this beautiful Encino home for $6.5 million. I thought you would really like this because it's one of those farmhouses
Yes.
that they describe.
Right.
That certainly does not look like a farm.
Yeah, I do like this. It's a farmhouse with no animals in sight, Chris, usually, so they're pretty glamorous. But it's the style of architecture and, timber detailing. It's a beautiful look. Again, those beautiful oak floors.
Yeah,
They
it
just
is.
create that soft mood right through the house.
Beautiful home.
Spaces, aren't there?
So this is $6.5 million. He's got a net worth of around $7 million. He's not a huge star, but he is a big star in the US.
He's catching up to us.
So hang on,
pretty soon.
he's poured it all into the house.
Yeah, he very much has.
Jeez.
Well,
Why
it's
not?
time to leave.
I mean, he might be getting some side deals with, Instagram, etc., whatnot,
Yeah.
how the people do it over
Massive
there.
bedroom, a whole sitting area. It's like a little mini flat.
Yeah,
Obviously not living there, or he's a real minimalist when it comes to clothes.
No, he's moving in. He's
Yeah.
moving right in. But this is a brand new mini mansion, they describe it as. I don't know what a mini mansion is
for a
these
mini
days,
mansion.
but that looks like a
I
real
guess.
mansion to me.
It just shows you in this particular home how important the landscaping is because it's a
Yeah.
pretty grand home, but really all of these views looking out with the beautiful stepping stones and that crisp green with all of the clean lines, pergolas, gardening, edging. It's pretty.
It's a clean-cut
It's a very
house.
important feature of the home, isn't it?
Yeah.
The landscaping.
There's a lot to do there. You've got the pool
Yeah.
basketball court, which you don't see all the time. Usually you'd expect a tennis court, but maybe not a basketball court.
No, but we don't know his hobbies. He could be
Yeah.
a basketball. We don't even
Yeah,
know.
but American culture, big basketballers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Possibly more than Australians.
And I feel like all celebrities have some sort of sporting arena in their house.
Got to keep fit.
You've got there's either
Fit
a
for
pool,
the viewers.
but it's 6 bedrooms, 7.5 bathrooms, formal living and dining area, walk-in cellar, which we all love. 5 of the guest bedrooms have en suites, which we also speak about quite a lot. I find that a bit excessive, but we'll run with it.
Oh, look, yeah. It's just the number of bathrooms. We quite commonly have houses here with like 17 bedrooms but 30 bathrooms.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I don't
it
know
is
why.
crazy.
I don't understand that.
No, neither do I.
What's Encino like?
Encino is, I'm not that familiar with it because we don't have a lot of celebrities there, but it is on the rise. There are a lot of people there. Celebrities. I think it is it's not as popular as, say, Brentwood or Pacific Palisades or Hollywood Hills, which is which you find most of the celebrities are, because I think they're a bit more private.
Yeah.
That's where they have a lot of the gated communities. I don't think Justin Hartley's like that well known to need to be in these very like out of the way secluded houses.
Yeah, or maybe he likes to create that feeling too. But yeah, Encino.
It makes me think of Encino Man, the movie with Brendan Fraser. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser.
Classic movie. Get on that.
Oh lol. Okay, well we're staying in Hollywood. We're going to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Just Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We remember him. He's a childhood hero, if you will.
Yeah.
He very much has played under the wraps, but he's still been quite, he's been around. He's a childhood star. He was in 10 Things I Hate About You, 30...
He drinks like the nectar of some weird flower or something because he just hasn't aged for like 25 years. He looks
Really?
exactly the
I was
same
thinking
age.
the opposite. I was
do
looking
you?
at photos
Pretty
and
good.
thinking that he's looking good,
Yeah.
but he's I was
around a
like, you've been around the traps.
That's all right.
But you wouldn't believe he's actually got a net worth of about 35 million. Like he's
been in a lot of movies,
consistent.
yeah.
500 Days of Summer, 10 Things I Had About You. He was on 30 Rock from the Sun for a year.
He was in Batman. He's been in many movies.
Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't he? Yeah. But he has just listed his vintage 1940s home in Franklin Hills, which is in actually Los Feliz, which is somewhere that we do see a lot of celebrities staying in. But it's like a very understated home. It's actually probably one of the most surprising houses I've seen. With these big celebrities, but he doesn't take me for someone that would need, a huge mansion, something to show off. But he's put it on the market for $5.3 million. He purchased the home in 2016 for 4.5, so he's looking for a little bit of a profit. Hasn't had it for long, yeah.
Big entertaining areas, great for Hollywood parties.
Yeah.
Or just staying at home by yourself.
Which is what I would be doing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, he hasn't done many upgrades to it in the few years that he's owned it, but he's apparently cleaned up the backyard.
There's a lot though, don't we, Maddie, on the show when we're talking about these stars who keep houses for 2 years or 3 years. I wonder whether they buy them as an investment and think I'm filming and I'm going to be doing something and I'm going to be here for 12 months filming and maybe I might as well buy a property and do it up while I'm here to have a feeling of home rather than like living in a hotel or something.
And also, do you think that when you list it again after it's been Joseph Gordon-Levitt's house,
I'm sure.
Yes, we've had this conversation.
We definitely have it with Ellen. Ellen is the most prolific real estate investor on our show. She's always calling in and sharing her houses with Maddie.
Yeah, she honestly dials my number and says, "Hey, girlie, have I got a house for you? Not to buy yourself, but to talk about." But yeah, it's an original 1940s home. Sits on over 3,700 square feet.
It's very classic.
It's a
really
classic
understated.
home, isn't it?
That's what I think.
Clearly being styled.
Very styled. But you are probably taken by surprise because of that understated style. It's got beautiful raised ceilings, very, white on white finish inside, but again, the warmth of the flooring to make it not feel too clinical. Great outdoor space, beautiful home.
I love this outdoor, yeah.
Really nice.
It's only but 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, formal sitting room, mountain views that you can kind of see. And then we've got that beautiful backyard.
Yeah, and a little bit private too, so which is what they need to, otherwise there's people hanging over the fence taking photos and
which is what happens to us.
Putting it in Who magazine.
Yeah, exactly. I know that there's a breakfast nook. I love that places like this have specific places to do things like that.
Yes.
It's not a multi-use space. It's where you eat your breakfast.
Okay? You're not allowed to have dinner there.
Definitely not. You get thrown out.
Outside for dinner, the dinner cabana. Really nice shot.
Yeah, it's a good house.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mads. You're always bringing us beautiful news around all of the cool hipsters overseas.
Which is something that I am as well. So it's just
These are your people.
My people.
Yeah, fair enough. Maddie Howe, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Let's head quickly now to Prospect, which is our first auction of the day. It's underway in South Australia.
Is the bid at 780,000. I'll call 90 there with you. Thank you, Jono. At 790 there, bid is 77. At 790 bid now, 800 if you like now. At 790 bid against you over here. At 790 calling 800, can I say quickly, won't buy it, Ruddy second. At 790 is the call, calling 800 now. First time in calling, it's against you here. At 790, 800 back in against you now, John. At 800 is the call 810 if you want. At 800 is the offer, taking 10 now. At 800 bid. First call at 800. Second call at 800. Third call at 800,000. We are 810 on your call, Pete. Where's that?
Number 13, right ahead.
Just checking. Good job, Peter. At 810,000 in front, bidder 13. 810 is there. 20, can I say? Where are we? Under bidder here. 810 here, calling 20 now. At 810 is the offer 5, so 815 with 78. I'll pay you the same courtesy, pop 5 on top. So 815 bid now, calling 820. 820, can I say? Back in at 820, bidder 13. 20's there, and I'll call 25. Happy to still take your 5s. 820 in front now, taking 25. At 820 bid now, 25 back on front with 78, and 30's back with 13 now. At 830 is the call. Still taking 835. At 830,000. At 830 bid, taking 835, can I say now? At 830 is the offer. All done, all finished, all silent at 830. First call at 830. Second call at 830. Third and final call. 831. Oh, what he says. Didn't see it coming at 831. Where's that? Where are we? Bidder 81. Thank you, Peter. At 831 with 1 on top. Yep. 830. 832 with a quick reply. 832 is there. Yes, 830. 835 or 5 on top? Just checking. Thank you. 835 there. Bidder 78. 835 there. Still take your 1. That's all it takes at 835. 840, good bid. 13, 840 back in now. At 840 is the call. 840 bid now. How are we travelling here? 845, he says, back with 78. 45 is there. 845 here. Call you 850 now. At 845 bid. Are we all done? At 845. 1 on top, 846. 850, can I say? Good bid. Yes, 850. Kind of, there's shaking of heads, all sorts going on there. At 850, we are there. At 850, against you here. 1 on top, that'll do it. 851. 852 now, with bidder number, I should call those numbers there, Pete. 8 with bidder 78, thank you. 852. 852 is the call. How are we travelling here? At 852. First call, 852. 853 with 1 on top. 855 now, bidder 78. 855, thank you. 855, against you here. 856, that'll do it. 860, can I say? Going to hold there for a moment. 856, Jono, how are you travelling? Boring, Jono, at 856. Get amongst it at 856 now. 856, the call. Are we all done at 856,000? First call, so bids here at 856. Make no mistake. Second call at 856. Third and final call at 856. Would it help if I said we are selling? We are on the market selling to be sold now. Won't be stopping the auction at 856,000. Instructions are clear. We sell away at 856,000. Take a 1. Yeah, that'll do it. Puts him back. I need to see the number though. 8, thank you. 8, so I just need to make sure the guy who's buying it is confirming that he is spending the money. At 857, thank you. 78, 857. Take 858 there. 857 here on the left-hand side. So close. At 857. 858 with a quick reply. At 858. 858,000. We sell away now. First call selling now, Jono. Second call, 858. Definitely done here. All done? Sure. Thank you for your bidding, so we can't help you. I appreciate your participation. Third and final call. We are 858,000. We sell away on the market to be sold. We are going. Oh, inappropriate timing with the car. Going, and we are sold. Congratulations. Well bought, guys. Big round of applause. On behalf of Harris, have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
Well, how's that,
There you
mate?
go, first one. Clean off
No
the
mucking
floor.
around, is it? Really clean auction with Phil Harris down there in South Australia. This is 42 Milner Street, Prospect. We had to go there pretty quickly after the ad because the bidding had already started. Started off just with about 750, and it just went quite nicely, didn't it? There was a pretty strong response there, and ended up settling there on the market at 856, managed to get another 2,000, selling at 858. Beautiful property.
Really beautiful. It had a bit of a pause there at 8:30, but definitely made it there nice and strong. We were just speaking as we were listening about some of the things that you can do to this place.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot said about that it's renovators and an updater's delight. But a lot of cosmetic changes that you can make right off the bat.
Yeah, right off the bat. I'd be out there with a sledgie this afternoon knocking that front fence down. You'd be helping me.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the home itself has got such character, and we know Adelaide has these beautiful stone front homes, which is so unique to that part of it. Like, these are Adelaide homes. I look at that and I know it's Adelaide. So they've got these facade, but the front fence lets it down, but that's able to be changed. And the lean-to extension at the rear, which houses the kitchen, that can also be removed and added on to the back, of course, subject to council approval. But the thing that's going for it is that beautiful flat block to really utilise this area and make it into a larger home. You've got details in there. You've got the beautiful corbels, you've got the arches, you've got those beautiful high ceilings. They're 11 foot. And it's a great location as well. Pretty good school catchment. There was a property guide for this one of 735 to 994, but obviously these are guides and they give us a recommendation of where we think we're going to go. But it's all about what the vendor expectations are and what the market is prepared to spend. And therefore they were quite happy with this. They have been in there since 1975, so they've definitely realised a good growth.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, it's one of those areas, Adelaide, that just has been much more consistent than some of the East Coast property markets. It's been pushing up strongly for some time. 2016, we note here that the median value kicked up 13%. It's been a lot more I suppose, reasonable.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot more consistent than some of these other.
No, they've done quite well, and a lot of Sydney and Melbourne buyers going down there because of the price point. I mean, to get an amazing 4-bedroom house there for 858,000, we could do that about 15 years ago here.
Yeah, you can see why the demographics are shifting a little bit. Well, property prices may be dropping in many markets around Australia, but there are suburbs that are poised to surge over the next 3 to 5 years. Now, the good news here, you can afford these areas. And the better news, we're told that your investment could grow by $200,000 in 5 years. Joining us now to tell us where these hidden gems are, Jeremy Shepherd, Head of Research at Sell or Hold, comes to us from Melbourne. Jeremy, thank you very much for being with us. Now, this all sounds pretty good, possibly too good to be true. Could you help us understand what sort of areas are you looking at?
Well, the way in which we conducted this research to find these top markets is, first of all, we're looking at supply and demand statistics, because ultimately it's supply and demand that dictates price movement. And, Australia is a tremendously diverse country. We've got different economies from one end of the country to the other. So what we did was we found these markets that had high demand, low supply, and then we restricted that list further to those that are within just significant urban areas. So we wanted a population of 100,000 or more. And the reason for that is when you've got a significant sized population, there's economic diversity, and that puts some stability on house prices. And we also set a criteria of less than 650,000. So all of these property markets are quite affordable for investors looking to buy in these areas. And the third thing we did was we eliminated units from our criteria. So houses generally outperform units, especially over the long term. So in summary, we're looking for property markets that are affordable. They're housing markets. They're in significant urban areas, and they have high demand and low supply.
How do you gauge supply and demand in an area? And which sort of stats do you look at to gauge that?
Well, some of the statistics we use that people would be familiar with include auction clearance rates, vacancy rates, selling times, percentage of stock on market. In fact, there's an enormous number of statistics we use, and some of them have pretty fancy definitions. I won't bore you with them, but we wrap them all up into a single statistic that we call the demand to supply ratio, and that's the statistic that we used to isolate these suburbs with great growth potential.
We love a bit of number crunching on this channel and on this show, Jeremy. So look, we're interested here in this $400,000 price point. Understand that you've got two major price points, but at this $400,000 one, the list is topped by Taparoo in Adelaide. Now, 28.5% over 5 years. Can you help us understand why that area is so special here?
Well, it all comes down to supply and demand, and we measure the supply and demand for literally thousands of suburbs across the country, and we've been doing this every month for nearly a decade now. And when Taparoo came up, we were able to compare its demand to supply ratio with other demand to supply ratios for similar markets with similar characteristics that we've seen historically. And so that forecast of I think it was nearly 30%. That's based on what we've seen, similar suburbs with similar supply and demand characteristics, how they have played out over the years. And so Taparoo has that high demand, low supply that means roughly 30% capital growth over the next 5 years.
It's big figures that we're talking about here. Coming in second is Toowoomba, Centenary Heights. What is the standout stats that you look at for this particular suburb?
Right, yes, Centenary Heights, there were two standout metrics for Centenary Heights. First of all, selling times. Properties are selling quite quickly. So it usually takes about 3 months to sell a property, typically around Australia at the moment. But in Centenary Heights, they're selling in about 39 days, so less than half that. So quite rapid, and that means that there's strong demand because you've got eager buyers. And the second metric that stood out was a low percentage of stock on market. So that puts pressure on prices to climb when you've got that limited supply. And it's been there's been quite a dramatic drop in the number of properties available for sale in Centenary Heights over the last 6 months. And the other metrics were all pretty healthy, but those were the two standout metrics.
Yeah, Jeremy, another one here, Adelaide suburb, Surrey Downs. That's also high on the list. I'm imagining, of course, that it's going to be about supply and demand again. Do you take a look at demographics here? I mean, do you look at all the people that are moving in and maybe some gentrification, things like that as well?
Well, yeah, that's a really good question, Chris. I found that those sort of statistics, for want of a better word, are actually poor indicators. Some people would be looking for, is this a lower socioeconomic demographic or a higher one? Are they white-collar workers, or do they have to drive a long way to work? Is it close to the CBD? And a lot of these things are looked at by property investors, and surprisingly, they have very little to do with future capital growth. The metrics that I'm looking at, which are supply and demand, are the ultimate dictators of price growth, and that's why I tend to ignore those sort of demographic figures and focus on supply and demand.
Now, also, these sub $400,000 properties, it's pretty dominated by this Adelaide area. Is it just because everyone from Sydney and Melbourne's moving down there for those amazing character homes?
Well, I don't know what it is whether it's because they're moving or not, but first of all, if you're targeting property markets under 400,000, Adelaide is number 5 on the biggest cities in Australia. So it's got a population of I think about 1.3, 1.4 million, and I think the median price is around 430,000, 425. So if you have a list that includes only property markets under 400,000, you'd expect Adelaide to feature. But the thing is, the major reason why it has appeared so dominant in the under 400,000 list is because of high demand and low supply. So about 12 months ago, we noticed a couple of pockets, isolated pockets around the city that were raising their heads and showing a little bit of heat where demand exceeds supply. And those pockets have grown into clusters, and those clusters have grown to encompass almost all of the metropolitan area now. So the reason why Adelaide dominates that list is because it's one of the hottest major significant urban areas in the country at the moment.
What about if we move up the scale a little bit? We've got a $600,000 price point. We're going to have a look at the top 10 list there as well. Look, what sort of areas stood out to you when it was $600,000 instead of $400,000?
Yeah, so the focus then switched with a $600,000 price tag to Brisbane. And in particular, there's a cluster just north of the CBD. And it considers the suburbs of, so it's Everton Hills, Stafford Heights and Chermside West. They're all in a little cluster. They're within a stone's throw of each other. And there's another one just to the south of Stafford Heights, Stafford. So you've got Stafford and Stafford Heights. Stafford didn't quite make the cut, but what you've got is this little cluster of heat where demand exceeds supply, and they're all in the same area, and that lends more weight to the argument that these markets are going to improve. And by the way, all of these suburbs that are in the list are in little clusters of heat. So I purposefully eliminated any suburbs that might be isolated, just one-offs, because they could be anomalies. But the ones just north of Brisbane, that was the most standout cluster of the set.
Mansfield came in second in your top 10 list. What's the growth potential in this suburb, and how did you find that out?
Okay, so Mansfield, what's that got? All right, so we've got this metric we call online search interest. So whenever you go to look at a property on realestate.com.au or domain.com.au, there's a record kept of that. And so we can access that data and figure out how many searches were made per property in a particular suburb. And we call this the online search interest. Now, around Australia, a typical figure would be about 60 searches per property. But for the month of March, the average, well, the online search interest for Mansfield was 193, so more than 3 times more than the average for Australia. And secondly, the percentage of stock on market has dropped quite dramatically over the last about 6 months, so it's gone from about 1% to 0.25%. There were a couple of other metrics there, but those two were the standout metrics.
Jeremy, we've been hearing from you a bit about the chart toppers, the ones that everything's looking pretty good over the next 3 to 5 years for. What if we turn the scales a bit and have a look at the bottom dwellers here, the ones where the supply and the demand metric is turned around from where you would want it to be? What are the bottom placed suburbs here?
Right, yeah, so in this list of worst forecast growth markets in the country, and this is house markets and under 400,000, you can see that it's dominated by Geraldton. Now, Geraldton's about 4 hours drive north of Perth, and it is a port town, a shipping town. And the commodity that's most frequently shipped is resources from mining. So when the resources sector took a dive a few years ago, that really hurt the economy of Geraldton, and of course there was a flow-on effect to property prices. South Headland's another suburb or area that's a mining town in Western Australia, and that's been hurt. Castletown is in Esperance. That's again in Western Australia, but on the south coast. It's some 2,000 kilometres south of Geraldton, a massive state, Western Australia, when you look at it on the map. And that's also a port town, which is reliant on mining. Bunbury is also a port town reliant on mining. So you can see that there's a theme developing here that investors should be aware of. In fact, the odd one out was Russell Island, which is about 50 kilometres southeast of the Brisbane CBD, and I can only assume that it's because of the inconvenience of living on an island that the property prices were under some stress there. And it's interesting that these markets are all quite cheap, and bear in mind that these are house markets, not unit markets. Usually when we're conducting this research to find the worst performing markets, they're usually unit markets and because of oversupply. But when we switch to cheap and we switch to house markets, it's because of an underwhelming lack of interest from buyers.
Yeah, of course, because there is only so much land that it can't be increasing at the same rate as apartments. Finally, Jeremy, for the investors who are watching now, who are wanting to sort of get their portfolio happening and get into these areas that are going to have this great growth that you're talking about over the next 5 years, what tips do you have for them?
Well, first tip would be avoid mining towns. That's target significant urban areas where there's a decent population, and the two standouts at the moment are Adelaide and Brisbane. Secondly, I'd be targeting houses rather than units. Houses generally outperform units, especially over the long term. And I'd be looking for a large block size, something like 600 square metres. I'd be avoiding house and land packages, especially on tiny blocks, and especially those that are on fringe suburbs where there's a lot of vacant land which could be developed, because supply is the enemy of capital growth. And of course, lastly, and most importantly, I would be looking for markets that have a high demand relative to supply.
Fantastic. So much information there, some hot spots, basically some not spots, and some excellent advice too. So Jeremy Shepherd, Head of Research at Sell or Hold, much appreciated coming to us.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
We're here on auction day today, and this next property, a stylish and contemporary home. It features lush gardens, just a moment's walk to the heart of Newtown. We're talking about 20B Alfred Street in St Peters, and it's heading under the hammer soon. But before it does, we're joined on the line by selling agent Samuel Theo for a bit of a preview. Samuel, thank you for joining us. Could you help us walk us through this property?
Wow, this is a wonderful home. I mean, first of all, the owners have done a wonderful job upkeeping it, and I mean, it's really evident upon walking in. It's 2 levels, it's a 2-level home, 3 wonderful big-sized bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms as well, and you've got a really lovely, large entertaining space that carries out into the rear yard as well. So the other great thing about it, of course, is they've actually put fake grass in the rear yard, so there's no more lawn mowing, which is great. And of course, it's got the most important thing I think that I love about this home is the fact that it's got parking. I mean, a lot of terrace homes don't have parking, so it's got the added bonus of the parking as well. 188 square metres of land, and the internal space is just over 200 square metres, so it's very generously proportioned inside as well.
It's a very important point that you make, this idea of parking, knowing these suburbs well, and it's one of those flow-on suburbs, isn't it? I mean, Newtown is a very popular space and an expensive one. Marrickville then grew up, and now we've got that St Peters next door. It's got beautiful character homes, but really a great area to live with its proximity to so many things.
Yes, totally correct. I mean, we're finding a lot of people that are missing out from homes in Newtown and Erskineville are actually continuing their search in St Peters, where the property prices are a little bit lower. But then again, you're still so close to the CBD of Sydney as well. So that is really helping us immensely, because we specialise in the 2044 postcode, Sydenham, St Peters, Tempe. So yeah, it's really good to see.
Absolutely, Samuel. We're steaming towards the auction, of course. Now, have you had much interest today? Many parties through. How are you looking ahead of the auction?
Look, to be honest, not as many as we'd actually I'd like to have through. We've had a handful of contracts out on the property as well, and probably of those contracts, maybe 1 or 2 really interested parties on it. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that transpires today. Of those people that are interested, they're mostly home-owned occupiers and a couple of investors, not too many. So, I mean, the home as it stands now, you're probably looking at a rental yield of about $1,000 to $1,100 per week, so that's quite healthy as well.
It is. Yeah. I suppose a little negative for the area, Samuel, is at the moment there's an impact from the construction of the entryway there at the bottom of May Street into the to the big WestConnex, that big tunnel going through. But the benefits are when the work is done, and we're not too far away, is the accessibility to be able to go north or south from that point. So has that been a discussion point with people coming through?
Look, I mean, St Peters is a very resilient suburb. I mean, you've got the aircraft noise, you've got the Princes Highway, and of course now you've got the WestConnex, but our saving grace is the proximity to the CBD of Sydney. But again, now that the WestConnex, the stage 1's already complete on the May Street side, and it looks actually really beautiful. I mean, they acquired about 80 odd homes down that strip there, but now they've beautified it, they put the cycle path in, they've got some beautiful landscaping going in as well. So it's actually going to make the place look really nice and attractive to, you know, young families and investors as well. So
yeah, I agree. And
accessibility,
accessibility to transport as well. You're auctioneer and agent on this one, are we?
Yeah, that's right. I actually started out as an auctioneer to begin with, so now I kind of do my own auctions, which is great. So it's very exciting. I get to, you know the buyers very intimately as well, of course, because, you know, they know me by a first name, and sometimes I often, you know, address them as their first name too when they're bidding. So
we love that. We love that good personal service on this show, Samuel. We look forward to seeing this auction going underway very shortly, and we know you've got people milling around in and out behind you, so we might let you go and do your two-hat job and come back to you shortly.
Yeah, no, really appreciate it, and all the best. Thanks so much.
About to head back to our last auction of the day, James.
Yeah, it's been a big day. It's a great property. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 car. St Peters is a really interesting suburb for those who don't know around the country. Right near a major hub of Newtown, not far from Sydney's CBD, but also major hubs of lifestyle around there. You've got Newtown and you've also got Marrickville. And it's a really great point for access and transport as well. We had a look through a little bit. Look, this is a pretty good-looking property as well, and it's got a potential rental return of about $1,100 a week when we spoke to the agent and auctioneer, Samuel Theo.
Yeah, pretty generously proportioned rooms, we're told. Overall, the land size is almost 190 square metres. As you said, 3-bed, 2-bath. And that garage is pretty attractive, it would seem, in that area where off-street parking is a real bonus.
Yeah, definitely. Parking is a big selling point, but also you get a lot of traditional semis here and older homes in this suburb. So to have something that's so fresh and new and really capitalising on the full width of the block is quite unique and pretty well sought after. It looks like this auctioneer has already started, Samuel Theo, and it looks like it's underway. We've got a good turnout there and a nice day. Let's see how this auction goes.
Chances only, and then when this happens, property is sold. I cannot accept any bids upon the fall of the hammer, so please get in nice and early, and I'm sure you'll be very happy with the outcome here today. If you are that lucky purchaser buyers, this is a contract you'll be asked to sign. It's a standard 2018 edition. It clearly states that Sublime Property agents have been appointing the selling agents here today. We're calling for a 42-day completion period unless otherwise stated. The land address is 20B Alfred Street here in St Peters. Property is offered with vacant possession. All the relevant inclusions are applicable with the sale here today as well. It's a nice thin contract, which is good. Sewerage service diagram, section 149 certificate issued by council, a title search, and about 12 pages of pretty straightforward special conditions. So I will take that as having been read. Now, buyers moving into the property, 20B Alfred Street here in St Peters, it's a cracker of a home. I mean, upon walking in, you are very compelled to walk through. It's got a lovely free-flowing floor plan, a nice warm feel about it. Split over 2 levels. You've got 3 bedrooms of accommodation. You've got about 200 square metres of open plan space, which is great. The land size itself is 188 square metres. That moves out into this wonderful, very low maintenance rear yard. No grass to mow, which is great, buyers as well. You've got the shade cloth that goes over the top as well. In an idyllic suburb, buyers. High growth location, good rental potential. You've got the garage as well, buyers, and it is going to be sold here today. To who and for how much, you are about to tell me. So I'm looking for a good, solid opening bidder offer, buyers. Who would like to get the competition underway? After all that.
Free to make them.
Go on, guys. And at my
It
auctions,
doesn't necessarily have to be your best offer, by the way.
that's true. At my auctions, the first person to kick it off will have my favouritism, guys, and I'll do whatever I can to sell it to you. So who wants to go first? Big, strong bid? Anybody at all? Come on. What do you guys reckon?
1-1. 1-1. Is that reasonable?
That's a good start, I think.
think it's a reasonable
Yeah.
start.
What do you guys reckon?
It's not going to buy the property yet.
Good on you.
So,
Thanks,
1-1.
guys. 1-1. It's a good, strong bid. Up close, number 5. There it is, buyers. So that means now everybody else that like to own the property, you need to compete with, competing with number 5 and come in at above 1.1. Next bid now is going to be 110. Who's got 110 for it? 1-1's the bid. At $1,000,000's the call. At 1.1 is the offer. It's in close. It's Sir's bid, number 5. There's the call, buyers. At $1,100,000 is the bid, worth every single dollar, buyers. Who's got 10 for it? Come on. Fidgeting for your card there. Can I say it? Can I say 10, guys? At $1,000,001's the call. At 1.1 is the offer, guys. There it is. It's in close. It's Sir's bid. What do you reckon? 10 it is, and they're standing right next to each other, which is great. 1,110,000. Now back to you, sir. Go 20 if you like. 2-0.
Stronger bid.
10's the money. 10's the call. 1,110,000 to your left. There it is. 1,110,000. Sir holds it. Number 16's the bid. What do you reckon, guys? 20 or better?
30.
30's better. He said beat that. Thank you, sir. You can come to any of my auctions, and 40 it is. 40's the call. Take it around the bend, guys. Go 50. 1140. 1,140,000 now. There's the call. That's the bid. 50 it is. 60's better. 60 call. 60's the offer. 70's the bid. 80 call. Go 90, guys. 1.2 it is. Fantastic bidding. 1.2's the bid. And 10. 10's the call, 210's the offer. Go 30 perhaps, guys. I'm liking the way you're doing it better. 220. 220's the call. 30's the bid. 30's better. 30's the call. 40's better. 50's the call. 50's the money. 1,250's the bid. 50's the call. 70's better. 70's the call. 1,270 worth every single dollar, guys. Go 80, sir. You're doing really well. $1,270,000. That is correct.
Tempe for that matter as well.
And
so.
rental, you're looking at around $1,000 to $1,100 a week, so it's exceptional buying at that stage, guys. $1,270,000 with the start. So, last chance. Okay, guys, once that gavel goes, it's gone. Okay? So it's now or never. Alrighty? At $1,270,000, can anybody beat it? 1270's the bid. And our instructions are clear to sell today. 80. 80 new contender. Number 12. 80's the bid. 80's the call, guys. Directly behind you now. The bid's behind you at 280. Can we say 13, guys?
1-3. Strong bid at 1-3. Could be enough.
29. 29. 29's the call. Thanks, guys. 1,290 now. 290 bid. Mental hurdle, sir. Say 13. What do you reckon? 1,290 call. It's in close. Sir's bid. Don't lose it now. It's against the rules, I'm sure, to only bid once. It's somewhere in the fine print on the back of that card, I'm sure. 1920. Here we go. Once that gavel goes, guys, it's gone. At $1,290,000. It's in close. Sir's bid. Here we go. At $1,290,000, sir, now or never. Sir, what do you reckon? Quickly? 290's the bid. First, second, third and final time. Here we go. Anybody else? And 3 it is. 13's the call.
1-2.
Okay, that's okay, we do it. That's fine. 1295. We're going to get there in the end, I'm sure. 1295.
After 1-3, eh? 1-3.
Thank you, guys. 13 it is. 13's the call. I don't think you guys have had enough yet. I might just put that down. What do you reckon? 13 with the start. Number 5. Guys, I don't mind taking the 5 if they're quick. Yeah? Can we go 1305 perhaps if that helps? Yeah? Are you completely out? Because otherwise we will be selling it, guys, to these guys at the front here. Yeah? Okay? I can't make it much clearer than that. Are you prepared to let it go, guys? Promise me one thing though, don't go driving up Alfred Street in the next 12 months. You're going to be kicking yourself when you wish you didn't go one more. 13 is the call. It's Sir's bid. Nick, our instruction? There we go. Okay. If there's no better offer, guys, you've got it.
Last opportunity, we are selling.
Okay, here we go. 1.3 million. Just confirm it, guys, with your card.
We'll take one.
That's it.
That's all it takes. We'll take 1,000.
So, number 16, you're out completely.
1301.
We're selling. Here we go. Buys. Fair warning all round. At 1,300,000. First, second, third, and final. Here it goes. Last chance. It's going. Even a single $1,000, guys, or a half bid if that helps. It's barely even a good night out.
1301.
01. And 2 it is. 2's the call. 1302. 2's the bid. How about 3, guys? And between the 3 of you, that's $1,000 each. 1, 2, 3. 1303. Can we say it? Yep. 1302. Half bid, guys. You sure? Half bid, perhaps. Yes, that's true. Solid brick internals. 1302 in close.
5 at least.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Thanks for your bidding, guys.
Now's your chance.
First,
Forever hold your peace.
second,
$3,000.
third, and final. Going.
You sure? You sure? $1,000.
Go on. Congratulations, guys. Very well bought. Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you very, very much indeed for your attendance here today. I hope you have a fantastic afternoon. And could I also please get those bidders' cards back, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for coming, man.
There we go. Some hugs for that sale after a hotly contested bidding between a couple of people who were after it, but it obviously got them over the line. Somebody was trying to put some sneaky $1,000 bids, but obviously had reached the excess of their funds, and it went to this gentleman here in the front, $1,302,000 for this beautiful property, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car. It's not very old. It looks newer in my opinion, but it's built in 2009 here in St Peters.
Yeah, as we say, there's a lot going on in that area too in the way of infrastructure. It's very well located, close to Newtown. It's in that inner west area that's really kicking along.
There is, and I mentioned that transport link there. So we've got that massive works going on with linking obviously the freeway to the north and the freeway to the south of Sydney, with it going underneath. And that one of the outlet tunnels is just right near this home in St Peters. But it's going to be a great location once it's through, and it's getting planted now, and really good location for transport. So well done. That's our big auction for the day.
That was another tremendous auction.